share my. Perfect. So this is the test project I'm using right here. So the first thing that you want to do, so when you're about to code a document, you will want to go into your customs editor. So when you're inside of Filevine, you have this advanced settings. Some people, like admins in your firm, will have this, and some people will have to be granted that information as well. So typically what we usually recommend is you either have to, in order to do DocGens, you have to have this DocGen setup advanced settings right here. But in order to place an actual widget inside of Filevine, you'll have to do that through the customs editor. So for instance, a widget has to live inside the template in order for you to place a template inside of it. So for example, here, I'll go to our free help. Give me 1 second. You guys wouldn't have this many project types. We just have this. This is our sandbox. I'll go to the free help. So this would be like your template. So whatever your practice area will be, and then choose the section you would want to do that document inside of. And you can choose there and then upload what type of widget it is and upload it here. So let's first start off by adding a widget inside of Filevine. So I'll go over into my free help template here. Let's see, where did I put? There we go. And then I would now want to look at the section. So the part here that we want to make sure to look at here is where are we pulling the data from? So if this is a insurance type of DocGen that you need to, and it's in a collection section, the widget has to be in that collection section. So if the data is coming from a static section, you would want to make sure to put the widget inside. It can go anywhere. So static section information can go anywhere. Collection has to be within it. And what that means is, let me give you an example here real quick. What that means here is Panther one. This is a collection section, so you can see it's at item. So if I'm wanting to pull individual things for policy, insurance company, adjuster, anything that's coming from this section alone the widget has to live here. So very similar to this right here. But if your data that you're pulling from is in the case summary or intake, for example, a static section, which you could see I have to scroll through its stagnant information. Doesn't matter if I enter data into here, this information will be in every single project I open. And it's not collective information. So, typically we only see, static information because you're not collecting multiples of something. So medicals, liens, witnesses, there can be multiple of those in a case. And when you're seeing letters to them, you need to have it in a collection section because the widget base there, because it's pulling data from that collection item. But for this particular example, we'll go ahead and put the widget maybe in insurance. I'll give you an example of why that's important with the collection section piece, and then we'll pull data coming from all over. So we'll go ahead, and to add a widget inside of insurance, I can click inside of here, and then I hit this green plus symbol right here. I would want to make sure I add widget as my create custom, and what type. So you have DocGen, and then you have a DocGen multi-template. We always recommend doing the multi-templates just because you can put a lot more templated documents inside of there. But it is an option to have just the DocGen widget, which will only allow one template to be inside of it. This is going to be the front end name of this particular DocGen widget. So whatever you want it named, I'm just going to call it testing DocGen, but I can also add in here provider, something like that along those lines. I can make it auto tag. What that means is the document, as soon as it's generated, it will auto stamp that document as to be something. So I can auto tag it where it's like insurance communication or some sort of like insurance type of tag to better sort the actual document. And you can also auto move it to a folder. So whenever you generate that document, it can auto go into a folder without you guys having to do anything. You won't see this as an option in this particular example because our Filevine templated version doesn't have any pre-made documents. But if you do have those pre-made generated documents in that customs editor, you can choose which folder you want it in. And it is one-to-one. So if I put 50 DocGens in this one widget, it will throw those documents into that folder. It's an automatic transfer. So use that, wisely. And then I can choose where I want it placed. Row 51 will put me at the very bottom of the collection section. But if I wanted it between policyholder and driver, I would want it to be 4-1. So I'd have to move these over accordingly. But what I'm going to do for this example is only make it the very last one. You can also make things contingent off of things, so meaning visibility. I can show this when certain items are selected. So say that you only want to show this DocGen widget if something is happening in a case. So for example, if you're in insurance and you select third party, you can then have all of your third party level representations show up. Something along those lines. And that's for everything, not just one insurance section. That can be anything within your build. But I'm gonna make this one just show always. I'll hit create. And then I will show you this widget inside of this insurance section as well. I'll make sure I refresh just so we can get the new version of it. And you will see this one that's right here, testing.gen, and it has no templates in it. So what I want to do next is go in and to my DocGen setup and click on the project type that I need, that I just placed that widget in. So that will be the free help one, and I'm gonna have a hard time searching for it.
I think it's a little lower.
Lower. Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. So then we'll go into insurance and then select which field we want this in. So then we will choose the one I just created and add in the template here. Now, the template has to be coded in order to put this document in here. Also, the document has to be a .docx, so you can't have older versions of Word. It will not allow you to upload into this Filevine template. I'll click this fields list. So you'll see this little button right here. It's going to take it a second, but what it's going to do is give me a bunch of codes that I can use in order to try to, do this document. Now, this is all the codes I can use in order to code the document in order to pull data inside this document. Now, things I want to point out. You can see that this says each insurance item. If this DocGen widget didn't live inside of the collection section insurance, you would not see these options. Meaning if I had this in case summary, anywhere else intake, you will not be able to see any insurance items codes. So you couldn't just download this and you're good forever. No, you have to have that field list open for each individual one, especially for collection sections. Sorry, my computer's having a hard time.
And it tells you at the top of that field list which section it's pulling from. The only things that you'll see if you pull from a different section, for instance, for insurance, is general information, nothing specific. It's similar to how your vitals pull in, where you're only able to pull in certain codes. It's kind of the same here. There are some codes that do overlap across the different pages, but it's always best practice to just open up a new field list for the section that you're working in.
Exactly. All right, so it's downloading still. Let me go into a second one. I'll stop sharing that particular one and I'll share my whole screen here. Everybody can see this screen over here? Yeah. Okay. And the reason I wanted to point this out is because I'm going to bring my DocGen little sheet over here as a test. This is just a random little sheet I have, but just to give you an example of kind of what we need to pull in. So for example, here, I'll make this off screen. Can y'all see that halved? I don't know if you guys will see. You can see
Yeah.
both of these. Perfect. Okay. So I can come over here and make sure I want to check out and see, okay, I need client address, name, case, and client name, project ID, and date of loss. If you need things coded inside of here, you can also place individual codes in here. So just to give you an example, let me go ahead and get the other version up. Sorry, it wasn't going to show me the field list. So, for example, I want to be able to see, just for instance, if I wanted to code in insurance company, I always typically go and copy and paste the field name on the front end side, just because the naming conventions over here is very similar. I can then hit Control Find or Shift Find.
It's Command F on a Mac, and I believe it's Control F on a PC.
It's perfect. Then I can say full name here. And that will be the name of the insurance company. I could come over here. Yep.
Sorry, I was just going to say this is a contact card, so there are several fields that are titled insurance company, and so narrowing it down to figure out exactly what you want to pull from the contact card is helpful. That way you're not scrolling through kind of all of these options, because for every phone, email, and address that's in a contact card, there are 8 options for each of those, sometimes a little bit more. And so again, being a little bit more specific will help you all cut down on the time you're searching for these codes.
Exactly. So if you're looking for name, typically we like to say full name if it's coming from a contact card. But say you want to see just the first phone number, you would want to say insurance company phone 1. And then if you need all of the phone numbers, you can just say phones, and that will pull in multiple ones of them. And then we can go ahead and place that code in this. So if you click on this little copy button, so let's go back to the full name one. I can hit this button right here. It will copy it for me. And then I will go into my document, my Word doc, and paste it where I need it. So just for this one, I'm going to just say something like this. And that will then say sent the demand to, and then the insurance provider company right there. All right. And then we want to go in and see, let's go ahead and do the type of client too. So up in the top left-hand corner, this is how you would know if this is your client inside of Filevine, especially in this particular example. You can make it, depending on your practice type, a different thing. So you could have adjuster be up there, if you're insurance defense, things like that. But for this particular instance, we're using the client as Black Panther. If I go up here and just say client, it will search this laundry list for every time, or this huge list for every time client has been mentioned. So that's why I want to say client and then say full name. And then you can see all the different, help narrow that down. You will want to use the one, and this is going to be a very typical code that you'll use. And this will be in most environments inside of Filevine in general. I can always remember bracket client dot name is the client name. I will go ahead and click here. The reason why you didn't want to take it from the team section is because you're going to get, since this is a contact card, you're going to get more details here. And I want to pull exactly what this says here. So that's the reason why I need to make sure I'm in the client section of this and be able to pull this information over. So I'll go ahead and copy this particular example. And then let's put the client name right here. All right, and then I need, let's say, the client's actual address. So we'll just go ahead and say client address. We can either say 1, line 2, but typically what we want to do is go with the client address block. That's going to give the entire details of the actual information here. So that will include first name, last name, company, and then also this whole block right here. include that information there.
The benefit of the block is it shows up like you would see it on like a letter, right? It'll show the first line, the second line under it, the city and state, and zip under that. If you just do address one, it's going to come all in on the same line. If you break it apart, you're going to have to copy in several different codes. The only time you probably wouldn't want to use a block is if you have the name and the address separated, and like something in between them.
Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah. So if you're like putting someone's address inside of the actual text here, you would probably want to go with the line versus using the whole block. Perfect. And then we say name of case. So typically what people want to code there is this Black Panther versus Iron Man right here. So in order to do that, you typically will see it's called name here. It's called the project name. So you want to, if you ever want to have this particular coded in, what you will want to call it is project name. You can search it up here for that. And this is very similar to that client dot name. It's usually the same in every org, in every type of environment. And it's something you can memorize when you're trying to go through a document pretty quickly. All right, let's look at the document as well. All right, so to say I want like my project ID or like some sort of matter information ID here. This one I would also want to be able to look over here in this project number realm. So I can look at this, and this knows that this is the things that we're bringing over from Filevine's individual project area. So if you ever notice in Filevine, there's this little ID, it's a unique ID just for this particular case. I can have that coded in, and it's helping because you can search by project ID inside of Filevine, so you'll know which document that this actually will go to. All right, so here is, and then I'll enter that here. So also there is, this one right here is a code that it's like a date of loss. That's a custom field inside of Filevine that if something I've built out somewhere else. I'll go ahead and take a look and see where we have that. So typically we keep the date of loss in the intake. So we have it right here. So the incident date is placed right here. I can copy and paste incident date into my finder, and it will show me exactly where I need to enter that information. I hit copy, and then we'll go ahead and put that over into the side right here. Great. So now we have all my codes that will come over for this particular one. You can also include information if you need to. So let's say if you want to sign off and say it's the primary attorney or the case handler, I can just go in and hit attorney. Let's first find it over in this side. We'll go to case summary, handling attorney. We'll go ahead and use that one. I'll copy the front end version of this name. This is also a contact card, so we'll want to see this and then say full name. Then that will be able to narrow that down, so I can go ahead and copy this one in. Handling attorney name. And then I can go ahead and put phone number and email if I need to. So let's look at the phone number. Number one. Copy that information and then place it is. So as you can see, it's more of you keep plugging in where you want that data to pull from. And then I'll show you how to generate this as well.
One thing you all may want to consider, if you haven't already, is putting initials in your contact card. That way, when you're generating documents, you're not having to constantly change them if there's a different handling attorney or handling paralegal. You can just pull those codes in so that whoever is listed in the case summary in those positions automatically will pull the initials from their contact card.
Exactly. All right, great. So I'll go ahead and hit save here. Then I will go into my document template and then add this template in there. Now I have this individual one inside of here. So you can see I can edit the name. So let's edit the name that says section. And this name will be what the actual name of the document is once it's generated inside your Filevine. I can also code in individual things where it's like client name, just like those same field selectors. So that will pull in to this document as well for the naming convention. Perfect. All right, so let's go into the Black Panther and I'll add some of the data that we have that should be coming in. So we have handling attorney. Let's make this one the Hulk. Intake, we'll have the incident day, April. Go ahead and save those items. And ideally, all this information we fill it out through the case flow, but just for the case of this particular one. Oh, and then we want to make sure the Hulk has a phone number. And email. I can go ahead and go into insurance, click this so I can fill out some of the insurance information. So liability, and I said I was going to bring in insurance company. I'll just say Allstate right here. Scroll down to my insurance document right here. Click that, hit generate, and then this document should be generated. Now you can see this document has been generated in that particular format as a Word document. I click into it and you'll be able to see certain of the items populate. So my client information here, what my actual name is, the project ID came over, date of loss, and the Black Panther information like client name. Then you can see Allstate generated right here as well. And throughout with our attorney, the Hulk, and his phone number placed right here. So those you can see how, you know, adding the data in there and pulling it all into a document, you're already adding the data. Might as well use DocGens in order to make it more efficient for you guys to generate quickly documents, especially when it's regarding, you know, certain client name, project, and also date of loss. Those are always in a build, and you can always pull that into a document pretty quickly. So send this to an adjuster and move on. Also, I'll go ahead and exit this one. And once you generate that document, you can see the naming. So it said client.name, Black Panther automatically populated inside of this document naming convention. If I go into my docs section here, you can see it's also in here and how that document came out for it. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions or anything?
Just one more thing to note, when you are doing the template and also when you generate the document, you have the ability to edit in place. So you can make any changes. If you do it to one that you've generated, it's obviously only going to be updated for that generation of the document. If you do it for the template, it'll change the entire template. So anytime you generate it, that change will be made. You'll notice that there's a series of numbers and letters behind the title of the document, and that's kind of an indication that you are editing within Filevine. Once you save it, you can exit out of it and then refresh your Filevine, and those changes will show there at the top, which is super nice. Again, not having to download the document and re-upload it or the template to make any of those changes there.
Perfect.
And then, yeah, and then in the document section or in the section that you generated the document from, there are some other actionable items that you could do. You could rename it, download, preview, edit, all of the things that you kind of see here, send it to VineSign. Note this is a really cool feature. It allows you to basically have this document in a task or a note to somebody else in the activity feed. So if you know that somebody needs to look at this document and you don't want them to have to go searching through the insurance section, because as Jack, you mentioned, if you have multiple templates in there or just multiple items in a folder, scrolling to get to the one that you need could be a little bit time consuming. And so by noting this, it allows you to see that document within that section. And there's some actionable items that you could do directly from the activity feed as well.
Perfect. Yeah, and one of my favorite features was just to go ahead and combine this as a PDF, just send it on its way. It's instant. You click on it, and now this is a PDF version of that same document, and I can go ahead and send this out.
Ooh. Perfect. I don't see any questions. I did put a few things in the chat. If you are interested in any support plans, so if you're already a member of Filevine or a client of Filevine's, you've been in for a little while and you're looking for additional support as you all continue to navigate Filevine, maybe you want some DocGens done for you. We have several support plans to kind of help you through that journey. We offer free help every Wednesday this same time. Their topics vary, and so feel free to go on our website to kind of see what's coming up next, and also to see our recordings of these sessions. We do a ton of videos for folks to help you all, and so those are all listed, not only free help but other areas as well. And then I also put my email as well as Jacky's email in the chat, so that if you do want to engage in any of our services, we kind of run the gamut on all things Filevine. You can definitely reach out, or if you have questions about anything discussed today, you can feel free to reach out. We appreciate you all joining us today, and hopefully we'll see you in a future free help session. Thank you so much, Jacky.
Thank you.
Your knowledge is always so wonderful, so thanks for sharing it. And yeah, hopefully you'll learn something today.
Perfect. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much.